Hey guys, how are you?
Hey, pretty good, Paul.
Hey,
All right, so we're going to try a little intro a different way. We're going to say we're here at Elena with Ryan and Janice. And guys, we are very excited to see what you're going to set up for us today. The idea here of Gold Talks is to talk with restaurants and chefs and everybody that's doing a lot of hard work in Montreal to keep things going and sort of give the public an opportunity to create a little bit of a different experience at home, buying at a local grocery store, bodega, or basic market, so they can be able to prepare something very special. So, Janice and Ryan, let us know a little bit about what we're going to be preparing today.
Yeah, well, we decided the word of like the pandemic as far as like, anyone in the restaurant industry is pivot, I guess, right? I mean, survival.
It's a big word, yeah.
Survival and pivot are
yeah.
like the two big things. And so one of the things that we did to pivot in this moment is we rolled out like a hoagie program. So a hoagie is a like basically a sub, popularized in Philadelphia. Like, well, the ones
Philly hoagie.
Yeah, like a Philly hoagie.
Yeah.
So like traditionally we started making these hoagies. I guess about at the beginning of the like first lockdown when we came back from the initial like closure, as just like a thing that we could do that was like comfort and different, and like we also had right before lockdown had actually been to Philadelphia to go eat pizza, and we ate a bunch of hoagies, and we were like, okay, this is something that we really want to try. And one of the real like silver linings, I guess, of the pandemic for our restaurant has been that we've really been able to invest a lot of time and energy into like developing and trying new things that otherwise we would have been too busy to do. So the hoagie was one of the things that came out of this.
Yeah.
And so we'd love to...
And it's an easy thing to grab. It's an easy thing at lunch. It's an easy thing to pair with stuff.
I think that like throughout the pandemic, before the pandemic, like obviously it's not like it's a sandwich. People love sandwiches. But like, there's been this real like kind of movement into like things that are comforting.
It's a sandwich.
Yeah.
You can literally put whatever you want on a sandwich, and if you can manage to close it, it's a win.
Yeah,
right?
if you can, it's an open face sandwich, and that's also good
Right.
too, right?
Right?
Yeah.
As if it's too much. I know you guys do a lot of fresh stuff here.
Yeah.
Including your breads, right?
Yeah, so like everything
Yeah.
that we make here, we do in house.
Yeah.
So like this bread the recipe for the bread was developed here. All the seasoning on the bread is made in house, and then we cook the bread in our wood fire oven over here. Obviously, you can buy bread from any local place that makes delicious bread, and you can use whatever you want.
Yeah, and it's always a good idea as well. In this particular case, again, for somebody that's still being cost effective and want to do something interesting, is they can take a look at their local bread maker, like their boulangerie or their bread, local bread guys and girls, and ask them, hey, buy it from them. It may be a little bit more than what they would buy at a grocery store, but you're also supporting local in that sense too, so it's a win-win, right?
Yeah, exactly. And don't forget, like the most important thing about supporting a local like bakery, let's say, especially like I think like a bakery that works really well, is that you're not only supporting a local business, but that business is likely buying their wheat and their flour from other local businesses. So like they're buying it from local farms,
Right.
like we do. All of our flour that we use here for all of our pizzas is from a local farm about 45 minutes from here called Moulin des Cèdres.
Amazing.
It's in Les Cèdres, Quebec, and it's all organic and it's all local. And they mill fresh flour for us, and we get to use it in our pizzas. So our small local business supports another small local business.
And it's just sort of a chain.
And that was like, at the beginning of the pandemic especially, that was one of these like big fears, is that like, with restaurants closing, that an entire supply chain collapses.
Yeah.
Because like our little business does support a ton of other businesses. We buy all of our mozzarella and buffalo milk products from a small local farm in Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu.
Amazing.
Called Machocha. And that's what we're going to be using here.
Okay, so Janice, sorry about, so let us know, what's up? What are we doing?
Okay, so we're gonna make a really simple, delicious, easy to make at home vegetarian hoagie sandwich.
Amazing.
It's sort of
Like, this could be a sub. I think this is like kind of somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, and we're gonna make.
You know what it is? It's definitely a
home
sandwich. It's
sub.
definitely a sandwich.
It's just it's a sandwich. It's
There's
a
no
proper
doubt about
sandwich.
it. It's a sandwich.
We got that. Okay.
And we're gonna, it's a little bit, I guess, kind of campagne inspired. So we're using some just really simple sauteed rapini,
Yeah.
just sauteed with a little bit of garlic, olive oil, and a little white wine.
Could they use?
Oh, you could just throw
little
it-
olive oil or
A couple splashes of water will do the trick.
Water will do the trick.
I'm gonna put a little lemon juice on it too, which is nice. So it just brightens it up. We're gonna use some of our buffalo mozzarella that
Lovely.
Ryan just spoke about.
Yeah.
Some of our house-made bomba, which is like a spicy condiment, which you can find at the grocery store. There's many really good brands actually that you can find now.
This is a tomato-based
It's
sort of.
spicy peppers, some tomatoes, some cooked down vegetables.
Okay.
It's really punchy. It's a little bit spicy.
So something
and
with zip people could find.
Very zippy, yeah.
Normally in the grocery store, this would be called pepperoncini.
We try to do it. We try to like make the most of all the delicious products when they're in the season. So with this past summer, all the peppers we could get, this nice spicy peppers, all the fresh vegetables when they're in the season, we pickle them or we marinate them and try to keep them for the rest of the year.
in season. Not that it wasn't always sort of the case in the business, and specifically in a business like yours, being such a staple of what you're going to prepare and use. Has that really been, I don't want to say a saving grace, but something that is absolutely militant that you are using from in season because it's just a cost-effective tool for the restaurant?
I would say that it's definitely something we try to follow all the time because it's inspirational. We work really closely with our friends who are farmers, and they're like, we have this right now, and I'm like, it's at its best. It's not just that it's in season, it's the right moment, but it's like that's when that vegetable is going to be the best out of all the year. It's going to be the tastiest plant.
Create the most nutrients.
It didn't see a fridge, until
Right.
it arrives here. It was like outside. It was picked. It's beautiful. So we try to, and we saw as well, like during the pandemic, and especially in the early parts of the lockdown, you saw the sort of chain kind of break down. So a lot of the bigger suppliers for vegetable and stuff, like they were hit harder, I would say, than a lot of smaller businesses, because they rely on this huge, much bigger network and
Of
things coming
frozen
from
and
overseas
carted over the
and
boats and the whole
it's
thing.
much more
Industrial
complicated.
agriculture and things like that.
So all I had to do was pick up the phone and talk to my farmer friends, who were 45 minutes to an hour and a half away. What do you have? Can you get this here this week? And we were even trying to figure out if we can help distribute. If we can kind of figure it out to make it even easier for them to distribute. stuff
Very
in the city.
cool. Yeah, that's part of the big picture. Okay, sorry to
That's okay.
to drive.
No,
off
we
the
love
topic.
talking. We love talking about that stuff. And
our
like
favorite thing.
the truth is, we've had a focus on local. I mean, it's been part of the ethos of this restaurant since obviously its conception, and it's always something that like we've really prided ourselves on, and also challenged ourselves to continue to work towards. For example, finding like this producer, and working with someone local. And cutting out, all imported mozzarella because we found a great local producer. Like these are things that we're constantly working towards. Again, like a few years ago, we switched all of our tomato that we use to an organic tomato sauce from the States, as opposed to buying imported tomatoes from Italy. And our goal with that is to one day actually be able to do our own organic tomatoes from Quebec.
Yeah.
To be able to like work with a farmer who can grow them in like the tomatoes that we need and want, and allow us to then can our own tomatoes to use local organic tomatoes from Quebec.
That's fantastic.
And that's like these are like long-term goals, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
But like that's where we see like this industry and then this restaurant within the industry moving towards.
Right, and that's going to be something that you're probably going to see with quite a lot, like a lot of restaurants.
Yeah.
Medium, small, they're going to take up that mantle and really have to head that direction.
Okay, so let's go ahead and make this sandwich.
All right.
So this is our freshly baked roll, which you can take a stab at if you want. At home, it's just that it's a very simple. You could use any kind of pizza dough recipe. Basically, will work.
Okay.
Very simple, but you can also fresh bread from the grocery store or from your local bakery would be great.
Right.
Some rapini. I'm going to start with a little bit of the bomba.
Yeah.
I'll just mention again about the bread that we're using.
Yeah.
essentially it's our dough recipe that we use for pizza, adapted for hoagie roll. All of our dough, pizza dough breads are all naturally leavened as well, which means we don't use commercial yeast in them. It's all from sourdough. Right. So this is our pizza dough is always 100% sourdough from our own starter, and then this is a product of that as well.
Fantastic.
It's also easier to digest, we find.
Yeah.
Which makes a huge difference. I mean, I think a lot of people, if they had consumed it that way for years before their gluten intolerance, maybe there wouldn't have been a gluten
I don't think we'd be
For
talking
sure.
about it so much.
Yeah,
But you know what I mean?
No,
That's
exactly.
it. I
Totally.
mean, it's
100%.
Sort of, remember, people don't realize is that you can get these allergies. It can happen in your 30s, your 40s. It can be because of your overconsumption and sort of how things were produced in the first place, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think that, like, you know, I mean, it's a very small case study, but I ate pizza almost every day for a year after we opened here. Sourdough pizza or pizza, you know, and like honestly, like it never got tired of it and never felt sick from it. You know what I mean?
Versus what it was
like, you know, if you order a Domino's pizza, it's like I'm not saying.
No, I know you're not.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
But it does not make you feel good.
No,
you know what I mean?
It's candy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's a different thing. Okay, so what are we doing here?
All right, so I just got a little garlic butter here. I'm just going to brush that
straight
on.
up, like just chopped up garlic.
Chopped up, I just let it simmer for 10 minutes or so.
Right.
It basically just smells like lobster.
Amazing. Rolling on the lobster.
Yeah, it's just garlic and butter bread.
Love it.
Can't go wrong.
Yep.
This was about one, just for reference, this was about one nice bunch like you'd find in the grocery store of rapini cooked down, and this would make, I'd say 2 to 3 sandwiches.
2 or 3 sandwiches? Okay.
So I'm just going to layer this on here.
Yeah.
I don't remember where this inspiration originally came from.
For this sandwich?
Yeah, but I got like
I'm just obsessed.
I became obsessed with this idea
of the sandwich.
Of this particular sandwich.
Of this particular vegetarian
I
sandwich.
love rapini. And like I love the idea of how simple this kind of thing is.
Yeah.
And
me too.
And like we actually had been like talking about like this kind of a very, very, very simple kind of vegetarian thing for a while. Yeah. And although this one's never been on the menu, it's something that we've been discussing doing for a long time, and this was a really fun opportunity for us to go for it. And we tested it a few times, and it's so good.
And that's cool. That's amazing. So how many? So how much did you use in that bowl?
I was being a little generous. I didn't really count. I kind of got lost in the moment of layering cheese on and making it look good. But that was about, I'd say, about maybe 60 grams of.
Okay. And in the end, because this is a personal thing and you're preparing this stuff at home, you're going to put as much or as little as you want.
You can't really go wrong.
Would you do any, I'm sorry to cut you off, but could there be any other cheese or sort of a substitute that would give us the texture that you're looking for? Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say like almost any cheese that melts would be good on this.
Yeah, no. The reason I'm asking is how some people are just not down.
It's like again like what you really want from the cheese is more like the fat. Like creaminess, the texture.
Gotcha.
So like we were actually discussing doing this maybe with a provolone.
Yeah.
Something that's a little bit sharper. That again melts really well. Okay. But ultimately we really like the simplicity of the mozzarella, and again this is like the same mozzarella that we put on our pizzas, and it's a product that we're so proud to work with.
Yeah.
So
I would stick to something not too strong of a cheese, just because the rapini is already quite strong.
And the other flavoring that you
it's pretty mustardy and strong and bitey. So the cheese on there is also just to like kind of give a little.
By the way, that description of bitey is I love.
You like that?
Just, dude, you guys don't understand. I'm totally I'm a sandwich freak. This is.
I didn't know.
Oh yeah, I'm totally in.
Shit.
No, I'm totally in. Okay, so now we're taking this to.
We're taking this to the oven. We're gonna toast it up a little bit. The garlic butter is gonna get nice and sizzly and a little color. So we're gonna the rapini and the cheese are gonna get a little kind of melty and warm, and then we'll just finish the sandwich after that.
Perfect.
The fun thing about the wood fire oven is we get to play with it a lot. I mean, it's obviously like, when we're cooking pizzas at night, it's running, around between like 800 and 1,000 degrees.
Okay. based on the amount of sort of non-stop wood that
Yeah,
you're-
exactly. We really like have the fire going full tilt.
Yeah.
But in the daytime, we get to do a lot of fun stuff with it. You know, toast things in it. We roast meats in it. We do all kinds of different stuff.
Maybe you should tell us what we would do with the temperature in the oven.
You could just put a broil.
and
in
you're
the oven
broiling,
and
right?
just-
Obviously, because you're trying
Yeah,
to
just-
crust
and
it
just-
up.
Even in a
just-
toaster oven.
Yeah.
no
Oh yeah,
problem.
right.
Yeah.
A toaster oven is sort of
Yeah, we don't
doesn't
see-
get the play
yeah.
it should get.
Yeah, toaster ovens are pretty great actually.
Because I remember like I feel like there was a lot of cooking that went on in my life at one point with the toaster oven. Like just wait till that ding,
Yeah, totally.
right, and then run. You knew your food was ready. You know.
Totally. My first roommates were Italian guys from like first generation Italian.
Amazing.
And I remember like I moved in with them, and I was like, one day I was like, "Where's the microwave?" And they were like, "Microwave?
What's that?
What do you use a microwave for?" And I was like, "What do you use?" And they were like, "Toaster oven." And
No, but
from then on,
it
like,
changed you.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
changed
I
you,
never
yeah.
used the microwave again.
Really?
My whole life, I've never had a microwave in my house.
And
like
even
adult
today?
life.
Even
No.
today.
No.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, but that's beautiful. And so here, you guys, the principle is pizza, right? I mean, this is what you.
Yeah,
and,
it's
and you
like-
guys do homemade pasta as well.
Yeah,
and-
exactly. Yeah,
it's
yeah. We have
very-
like a really like strong pasta program, obviously that Janice is in charge of.
Very cool. All right, that was amazing, and that's again because of the heat. There, this is how fast that thing goes.
Yeah, it just goes.
And it's gonna get a little bit of nice like, because we have the wood fire oven, like we get a little bit of smokiness from that too.
Right.
Just
Just
being
gonna
in there
grab a little
quickly.
bit of salt.
Amazing.
And the lemon again is just to give it a little like bring a little bit of acid to the dish.
Okay. Okay, so then you put some of that homemade
I'll
stuff
just put a
on
little
again,
more of
or-
this yummy bomba because we love it.
Yeah.
It's delicious. I put a little under, but I put a little more on top too. I'm gonna finish it with a little bit of freshly grated Parmesan.
Okay. Again, that too pretty much can be bought
Yeah.
just about anywhere.
Yeah, it's one of the things that we've like, you know.
Another staple, and also.
Well, it's a staple that like is always going to be something that's imported because we just can't get Parmesan from anywhere else. So
No, and actually, we were speaking to a colleague partner of from your other place, and we were talking about the story of a Parmesan, and then just across the water, the other name and the other cheese, and just, you know, it's the same, but it just can't be labeled the same.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Some
It's great
things are hard
stories.
to
It's like
substitute.
it's like the Adidas Puma story. You know, it's very cool across
yeah,
the
totally,
water.
totally.
I'd say
This
for the
is
most
beautiful.
part we use like local cheeses, but there's a couple that will make an exception.
You
Or
just,
like-
just for tradition
Yeah.
and for
Yeah.
and for steak.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean like Parmesan, olive oil, like there's a few things that like we're always gonna work with like the best of, and like you can't get that stuff. But what we do, which is fun, is that over the years, what we've been able to do is we've been able to like, you know, we forged a lot of relationships with friends of ours in Italy specifically, and so the olive oil that we use, instead of just buying random olive oil, we actually work with good friends of ours that are winemakers, whose wine we buy.
Yeah.
So people that work in like an incredibly
Oh, I forgot the
like
olive oil.
ethical and sustainable way, like in terms of agriculture
Yeah.
for winemaking, and then they apply the same philosophies to their olive oil. And we've been actually bringing in our own olive oil.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Amazing.
For the last 2 years, 3 years maybe almost. Working with friends of ours who make like
Beautiful.
at a winery in Tuscany who make olive oil.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's like incredible,
This looks amazing. This looks fantastic.
All right, guys.
Okay,
This is
so
it.
amazing.
okay, this thing looks delicious. Are we gonna get into this?
Let's do it.
All right.
go.
All right, let's go. With
You more
enough
of
distance.
an end piece or a
Oh
middle
yeah,
piece?
end piece all the way. That's it. You gotta have the end piece. It's all about, you know. a
That's
little
where
bit
you
of
get your
mess.
crunch.
You
That's
get
where
more
you get your
crunch.
crunch.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So now the thing
You
is, when
went
you're
middle
eating, when you're eating with the mask
Chef's
or
choice.
the mask hanging, I found myself getting stuff caught. And it just sort of like, I'm like, oh my God, and you're like flippity floppeting and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, we
Nobody's
take it
seen
off.
that?
I usually take off.
I take it off.
You take it off?
Take it off. I fold it up. Put it in my pocket. Sorry.
All right.
All right, let's do this.
It's amazing. That bite from your homemade, like that bamba sauce, right?
Yeah, nice.
It's everything.
really nice kick to it.
Yeah. And that smoky taste and that the rapini too. So how is, in all of this being said, I mean, this was born, not that this was born, but this really became sort of a signature thing that you guys are playing around with in this last, you know, several months, lockdown, up, down, close, open, you know, it's very confusing for everybody. Are there practices that you guys are doing now, obviously like the hoagie, that is going to continue on no matter what, even when the doors get flung back open?
For sure. I think that this is a great example. Also, we've expanded and played a lot with the additional styles of pizza that we do. So we do like a pizza that's called alla palla, which is like a really long, big shareable pizza. You might see one come out of the oven actually.
Very cool.
We've really worked on that for the last year, and that's become like a really, really popular item. That'll definitely stay on.
So there's been, again, like you said, other than some of the great things that have happened with even a closer relationship with some of your suppliers and your farmers and that kind of thing, you've also made some changes to the menus that you're going to re-implement and sort of pull out and continue to use.
Yeah, for sure. And we've developed, we've worked on everything from the bread program to desserts, and we've really taken the time to invest as much creative time and energy into all of the different aspects of the menu, but also we've invested in our team and our people a lot too, because we've had this rare and unique opportunity.
Well, and that brings me to another. How is the crew doing? How is the staff? How is everybody doing? Are they, do they talk to you guys a lot? Is there a lot of communication amongst each other?
For sure. I mean, we try and have as much open and honest communication with our team as possible on a daily basis.
Yeah.
We're so proud of the fact that we were able to, have. We had 45 people on staff here when we shut down in March, and we've been able to bring back, I think 25 we have on staff now.
Amazing.
And it started with a team of 7, and it was just we slowly were able to add and to increase and to expand what our offering was and what our hours were to try and get as many people that wanted to be here and back to work as possible. We were able to also to bring on some new people that have been tremendous additions to our team and have really been invaluable. And I mean all in all, we wish that everyone could be back at work. There's no question. But I think that we've been really we feel super fortunate to have all the people that are working with us now to here with us.
Is that also because of the ability to start adding more and more staff back onto sort of salary and the plan about you guys getting your legs fully back up? Is that also because the community has been so sort of supportive? And I mean the ordering, the pickup, have you seen a real sort of community come together of people supporting the business in the restaurant?
We definitely see a lot of return customers every week, and people have kind of
people
built
that
it
weren't
into
doing
their,
that when you were fully open, and now
it's kind of become
you're-
part of the routine a little bit. It's every Thursday I'm going to go, or Friday I'm going to go and get that special hoagie on,
Yeah.
we can't wait for whatever, each time. So it's
That's
it's
important.
true.
So you've seen. So that's another bonus. What I mean by bonus is I just mean it's another positive way to look at some of these things, because a lot of those habits and that community, if you've done right by them, they'll probably continue to do that same thing when you're in full bloom, right? When we're fully back up.
Have to hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, but also,
No, yeah, true, true.
We're beyond grateful for that as well. The support that we've seen from our community, from our guests, from our regulars, it's been paramount to us being able to have people back on staff here
Only
to be
reason.
open. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So obviously there's no question that we know how lucky we are. We know that we could be in a very different situation right now.
Yeah.
And what we've the challenge that we've given to ourselves is to continue to be innovative and to be exciting and to be able to do different things that expand an offering for our regular clientele, so that gives them more options to come and enjoy here.
And based on, and just I'll go back to one other question, and I'll let you guys get back to the real work. But the communication amongst your crew and staff, and sort of that familiar aspect that has been sort of the foundation. I'm sure it was always there, but it's definitely being taken up a notch with people sort of going through much harder times. Their heads are in different places. They definitely need somebody to talk to. Has that sort of new relationship with them enhanced in the sense where you're like, man, this is great. This is how I want to see our business and our family continue to move forward? Because you've opened the door to this idea that, it's not just a working relationship, that it's further than that, and maybe I can, call you up.
I mean, I think that again, we opened this business in 2018. There was a very different business model to begin with. That was one that really was a lot more transparent and had a lot more openness, I think, between management and team.
Yeah.
We've always tried to be to be very receptive to people's needs, wants, whatever it may be. And so obviously we were well positioned in that way when this thing happened, that we were able to say what do you need, do you need to work, are you not comfortable working, how do you want to do this, what works best for you, and then we were able to accommodate that way. But because we already had a really good open relationship with these people,
it wasn't so new.
No, and there were people that weren't, when we came back, there were people that weren't ready to come back to work. There was so much uncertainty. There were people that were dying to come back to work. And what it enabled us to do was to say, okay, well, everyone that comes back, these are the rules. We're very serious about all of these things, and we're going to take every precaution, and we're all going to look out for one another in this way, where we're all going to be beholden to one another if we're working together in this tight space and environment. Yeah. And so everyone that came back on board, has been really part of a family. I mean, we were I feel like we were a family before. That was a big, fun, extended, crazy family, and now it's just become a much tighter. We really tight unit. Look out for each other, and take care of one another more so than ever. I think there's even more empathy and more, I don't want to say more respect, but certainly there's
I'd say there is more respect, because we've kind of the kind of traditional separations that you have in a restaurant, or the front of house, back of house, sort of dissolved a little bit, because we really, that kind of, we didn't have a big team, so everyone was kind of helping each other, and that just brings you even closer together. We even had a couple of our front of house staff come and help out in the kitchen just to get some hours.
Amazing.
And just seeing the other side of the wall kind
Links
of thing.
Everything together.
Yeah,
it
just changes your whole perspective, and everybody has a little bit more compassion for everyone else and patience, and that makes a big difference.
I love it.
Yeah.
Guys, Janice, Ryan, thank you so much. Really, greatly appreciate it. And stay safe, keep it up. Can't wait for all the restaurants to be open again at full throttle.
Same
Thank
here.
you.
Thanks, man.
Cheers.
Thank you.